Welcome back. I'm Paul, and today we are ready to get our load of red jasper going in the lotto tumbler. This is I've gotten a few different I've ordered some red jasper from a few different places, and there's a little bit of some different orders in here, and there's a couple little different colors here and there, but for the most part it's all just red jasper. Some of it's got a little bit different color going on with it, but this has all been ran in coarse grit, which I run 4670 in the 12-pound rotary tumbler, and a lot of it's ran for many weeks. Some of it's ran for a month or two, and some of it gets done a little bit faster. But this is what it looks like after coarse grit. It's all smoothed out, and pretty well all the flaws are gone. There might be one here or there, but I'm happy with all of it. I'll get one wet here so we can take a look at it. That's what it looks like wet. A little bit brighter that way. And hopefully that's what it looks like when it's all polished, all shiny like that. So it's pretty well all about the same. Looks really nice. So we will go ahead and get the lotto tumbler set up here, and we'll get it loaded in the lotto, and we're gonna go for 3 days on the 120-220 medium grit, and I'll probably have to add some ceramic media because I don't think I have enough to. I always run a little ceramic media in my lotto tumbler, and I don't have enough to fill the barrel anyways. I may throw something else in with it. I'll see what the barrel looks like. I got a couple other things I could throw in there just to take up some space, but we'll see what happens. We'll get the barrel set up here, and we'll get everything loaded in. All right, we're all set up. We got the lotto barrel here. We'll add a little water. Usually put some water in there when I'm loading my rocks in there because you need everything wet, but no standing water when you put it on the tumbler. All right, so we'll get the funnel out. And I think we might just run this media that I have here. Just came out of a polish batch, so it's all perfectly clean, and it's actually kind of shiny. It gets a little bit shiny when it runs through the polish stage, so it's all ready to go. And the coarsest thing I run in with my media anyways is medium grit, so there's no chance of me having any coarse grit to contaminate the batch in the media. Got our rocks in there, or media. I may have to add a little media after it gets rolling on the tumbler, but I'll get it on there and we'll get going. So I'll just take it and we'll get the water dumped out. And we will get the camera set up over on the tumbler, and we'll get it on there and get our grit loaded in and get it going. All right, I added a little bit more ceramic media. We'll see how it looks when it gets rolling. Most stages I do in my lotto tumbler, I go for 3 days, and then I'll run a little burnish cycle or a wash cycle for a couple hours in between stages. But on my medium, I break it up because you add more grit and it creates more dust, so it gets thicker, and I have a harder time keeping it rolling. So I do 1 tablespoon of the 120-220, and I'll let it go for a day or a day and a half, and then I'll dump it and rinse it, and then do another cycle like that. And I've had pretty good luck with it, so I just do it like that. A lot of people do a 2 or 3 day cycle with it and just do 2 tablespoons, and I feel like I have a hard time keeping it running. So we'll add a tablespoon here, and we'll go for a day, day and a half, and then I'll do that one more time with a tablespoon and go for a day, day and a half before we're ready to go to the next stage. Our red jasper finished up its 3-day run in the medium grit 120-220. And I added some dish soap and a little extra water to help rinse it off before we took it off the tumbler, and we'll clean them up, see how they look, and we'll get them going to the next stage. All right, everything's looking real nice. Looks about as good as it should. And we'll go ahead and rinse them off a little better and clean the barrel up and get over to the tumbler and get them set up on the 500 grit aluminum oxide. Everything's all cleaned up, and this stage will be 3 days again. We'll do a half a teaspoon of the 500 grit aluminum oxide and a tablespoon of borax. The red jaspers ran for 3 days in the 500 aluminum oxide, and we're going to go ahead and get them rinsed off and get them going to the next stage. I just added a little bit of extra water and some dish soap. I do that before I rinse them, just it helps clean the slurry off. Alright, everything's looking really nice. I'm probably going to go ahead and I'll pull a couple out, let them dry off, and see what they look like after the 500 aluminum oxide. And a lot of times on the Lotto, when I switch stages, I will do a little wash cycle with some borax for a few hours, and I haven't been doing that on this batch. Most of these don't have any flaws, so I don't think they're holding any grit to the next stage, and I'm washing them really well. And I'll see if I notice any difference when they come out. Hopefully they look real shiny, and maybe that's something, I do that when I have something that I really want to turn out really nice, and I want these red jaspers to turn out nice, but they're nothing spectacular like, you know, Botswana's or Bahia or anything like that. So I've kind of been skipping that, and we'll see at the end if I regret it or if I even notice a difference. So we'll get them cleaned up and get back on the tumbler and get them going to the next stage. Everything's all scrubbed up, and I've got these 3 pieces here that I let dry, and they're looking pretty good. They've got a pretty good shine on them for just being through 500 grit aluminum oxide. So we're going to get them going on 1000 grit next, and hopefully they turn out real nice. So we'll run half a teaspoon of the 1000 grit aluminum oxide and a tablespoon of borax, and we'll go for another 3 days. Our red jasper ran for 3 days in 1000 grit aluminum oxide, and I rinsed them and put them back in the barrel and did a little wash cycle for about 2 hours with some borax soap. So we'll take a look at them and get them going to the next stage. Turn my water back on. They're looking really nice. I'll go ahead and pull a couple out and dry them off so we can take a look at them, see how they're looking after 1000, and we'll get them going to polish. All right, everything's all washed up, and these two are from one batch of red jasper that I bought, and this one is from the other batch. And this one is definitely a lot shinier than these ones are. These ones are shiny, but they're a little bit flatter. But when I ground them in coarse grit, getting them shaped the way I wanted on the flaws gun, these ones shaped up a lot faster than this. So this one is definitely harder, this batch of red jasper that I've got. So I'm believing that this batch will polish better. And these ones they're going to shine up nice, but I don't think they're going to shine as nice as this one does because I think they're a little bit softer. But we'll see what they look like when we're done. So we still have polish stage to go. Everything's washed up. Everything in there is wet with no standing water. We're going to do a tablespoon of aluminum oxide, or half a teaspoon of aluminum oxide polish and a tablespoon of borax, and we'll go for another 3 days. Our red jasper finished up 3 days in polish, and I've already added some extra water and a little Dawn dish soap and ran it for 15-20 minutes just to help clean the slurry off. So we'll see how they're looking. All right, everything looks real nice. It always looks good wet though. I'm gonna go ahead and wash them up better, and I'll clean the barrel up real good, and I'll throw them back on the tumbler with a tablespoon of borax for a couple of hours. I don't know if it counts as a burnish cycle or just a wash cycle, but I usually do it. Just doesn't hurt, so I do it. Clean them up a little better. So we'll go ahead and get that loaded in the tumbler and go for a few hours with a tablespoon of borax, and then we'll take a look at them dry and see how they look. Our red jasper is all dry, and it turned out looking really nice. Everything's got a really good shine. We'll move over to the side here and zoom in a little bit so it'll focus a little bit better. All right. Turned out really nice. I'm really happy with it. It's all about the same. It doesn't have a lot going on. Some of the pieces have a little bit more. This stuff that I've gotten has got more yellows and stuff in it. I had some other red jasper that I had gotten that was really bright red, and it had like some white quartz running through it, and I really liked that stuff, and I was trying to get more of that, but I can't remember. I think I know where I got it from, but they must have got a different batch, and it's a little different than that stuff, so maybe we'll have to get some more again some other time, because this isn't as bright red as I kind of wanted, but it still turned out real nice. It looks good. Some of it's got some black specks in it. And a little bit more of the yellow stripe. Not much stripes in there, just a little bit of yellow in it. But they turned out really good. And we've got some more of this stuff that we need to tumble yet. We've got to get it in a coarse grit. This stuff seems a little harder because it definitely took a lot longer in coarse grit. You can kind of see that they're a little bit different. This stuff in my left hand, I think, is a little softer. And it didn't take quite as good of a shine as the other stuff. I mean, it's still really nice, but the stuff in my right hand is definitely, it almost feels heavier. And I think it's just harder. And it definitely shined up a lot better. We'll take a look at a few more here. I'm definitely liking the... Oh, that one's got a little flaw in the back that I must have missed. Guess I'll have to live with that. I'm definitely liking the aluminum oxide on the 1000 grit and the 500 grit. I think you can tell a difference over when I was running the 500 and 1000 grit silicon carbide, so... This one's got a little bit darker. It's got some red in it, but it's a little darker. And then we've got a couple more of these that have a little bit of yellow. But for the most part, that's what it all looks like. Nothing too special. It turned out nice though. I've got a few pictures taken. I'll probably tag some of those at the end of the video. And that's about all we've got for the red jasper. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give us a thumbs up. And if you want to see some more of the tumbles we have coming up, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss anything. Thanks for watching.